Okay. It's inflation report day. So I'm going to talk about the Canadian inflation report and the U.S. inflation report and some rumors coming out of the U.S. But first, I have to get this off my chest. I know Canada is a hockey country, okay? But I'm a soccer guy. Let me explain this travesty that's occurring at the moment. On Sunday, the final of the Club World Cup was played, and Chelsea won. And Donald Trump is keeping the trophy. You can Google the trophy presentation. It was embarrassing. And rather than having Chelsea take the trophy home to their club, Donald Trump is going to keep the trophy in the Oval Office and have another one made for them. Let me put this into perspective for you. Not to open old wounds, okay? But we all know the Oilers lost the Stanley Cup Finals. But imagine that they won the Stanley Cup Finals in Florida. And instead of bringing the cup home to Edmonton, Donald Trump took it home to the Oval Office. The normal historic World Cup, the one between the nations, that's being played in the U.S. next year. Can you imagine Donald Trump keeping the World Cup? Because he's kept this World Cup already. All right, let me start with the U.S. inflation. U.S. CPI data set to show inflation increased further in June, reinforcing Fed's cautious stance. And yeah, it did. It did. It went up to 2.7%. Why did it go up to 2.7%? Tariffs. That's why. Economic Council head says Trump's ability to fire Fed's Powell is being looked into. Yeah, I know there's a whole bunch of stuff going around the internet that Jerome Powell has quit. No, he hasn't quit. Not yet. At least not at the time that I'm making this video. And Jerome Powell has said over and over and over again that he is not cutting rates because of the inflationary threat of the tariffs. Look, I've said it before, I'm agreeing with Trump on this one. They should be cutting rates in the U.S. But, JP does have a point in that the tariffs can increase consumer price inflation in the U.S. They already are increasing the consumer prices in the U.S., but there's a possibility that if the conditions are right, people will accept even higher prices, and then the greedflation starts. And we all know about that. So, on that front, he has a bit of a valid argument that if they reduce the rates, it might get people thinking things are okay. They might accept higher prices. The greedflation might take over. It's a possibility. What's also a possibility? That he steps down or gets fired, gets replaced by somebody Trump loves. They slash interest rates and they set us up for a catastrophe down the road. Because remember, we don't want rates going too low. That's also a problem. All right, Canada's inflation. What's the story here? Tariffs as well. How do I know that? They don't call out tariffs in the actual CPI, but they have this giant statement at the bottom of the CPI portal about tariffs. They're talking about gasoline. They're talking about the increased cost of passenger cars because of tariffs. After 30 straight months of mortgage interest costs being at the top of the list, it's now second on the list. They put rent above it. Yeah, they're blaming gasoline because gasoline year over year did not fall as much in June as it had in May. I'm sorry, but falling prices don't cause price inflation. Rising prices cause price inflation. Speaking of gasoline, this is important. That was the average monthly price of gasoline across the country in June, 140.7. Why is that important? Because it means the month-over-month price growth is not that much. There's the actual CPI numbers. May is when we finally saw the tariffs take hold, right? And so it jumped from 163.4 to 164.3, and now it's gone up just a little bit to 164.4. And there's a real possibility that we could hold at 164.4 for the next several months. Will they cut the rates? Who knows? Should they cut the rates? Yes, absolutely. I don't mean to disrespect any of the other provinces, okay? But the most important provinces in the country have high unemployment. Ontario, Quebec, and Alberta. If people aren't working in Ontario, Quebec, and Alberta, we got a problem. Listen, Yukon, I think you're fantastic. I would love to visit someday, okay? And I think it's great that you have 3.9% unemployment, but you have less than 50,000 people. These three provinces are the economic engines of the country. If they're not working, the country's not working. We're living in clown show times, so I'm not surprised that everything is a clown show, but it's really frustrating.